preload your weekly recap of all of the gaming news over the last 7 days and a quick look at what's coming up over the next week. I'm of course Carl, and without any further ado, here's what happened. Rockstar Games started the week by sending the internet into a frenzy with a few images before officially confirming that Red Dead Redemption 2 is real. The 1-minute trailer didn't really tell us much in terms of what to expect from the gameplay, but we do know that it will be hitting Xbox One and PS4 in fall 2017, and that it will look absolutely friggin' gorgeous. And I for one can't wait to be hunted down, terrorised, and then butchered by those goddamn cougars. Banes of my life. That wasn't the only shock announcement this week. Nintendo finally unveiled its upcoming console, which we now officially know as the Nintendo Switch. The jam-packed 3-minute trailer demonstrated that it is in fact a home handheld hybrid with detachable controllers, and that it will be able to play AAA experiences, going as far as showing Skyrim Special Edition in action. Though according to Bethesda, it's not a thing. No sir, you didn't see nothing. We've got a helpful roundup article on Digital Outburst discussing the main points, but the Switch will utilise cartridges for games and will be able to do local multiplayer with nearby devices. There's also rumours of it being region-free and including an SD card slot, but that's all the info we'll be getting until next year. As for the release date, the Nintendo Switch is confirmed for a March release, so you might want to start saving up those pennies. I know I will. You can't have any of mine, get your own! In sadder news, reports that United Front Games were closing its doors were unfortunately confirmed on Tuesday. Jen Timms, the former producer for the studio, was the first to bring the closure to light via a message on Twitter, stating that she was currently mourning the best job she'd ever had, calling it the end of an era. Despite the critical acclaim of its open-world title Sleeping Dogs, the online follow-up Triad Wars was cancelled in 2015, and its latest title, Smash and Grab, has been withdrawn from Steam after just 3 weeks. We send out our best to those affected by the closure and hope that they land on their feet. In this week's Beyond Good and Evil 2 news, creator Michael Ansel posted yet another image on his Instagram, which included a message about previous attempts to make the game. His statement explained that there had been several other prototypes for the sequel, but technical issues wouldn't allow for the grand scope he'd envisioned, which included planetary exploration, space travel, and huge cities. He went on to say that there's still lots of work to do, but the tech is ready and the team is fantastic. PlayStation 4 owners can look forward to ruining their underwear next month, as Amnesia Collection has been announced by Frictional Games. Available on the PlayStation Network store, it will include all 3 games from the series, allowing players to scare themselves stupid through The Dark Descent, Justine, and A Machine for Pigs. Okay, jump scares are one thing, but what really freaks me out is that there's a machine for pigs. I mean, seriously, who thought that that was a good idea? I mean, I've seen Snatch, I know what they're capable of. In industry news, SAG-AFTRA voice actors have announced that they will be striking against most major publishers after negotiations for better working conditions and pay broke down. What this means is that union members will refuse to do any voice work on games that started production after February 17th, 2015. Legal representation for the Coalition of Interactive Video Game Companies, which doesn't sound nefarious and evil in any sort of way, stated that the total number of strikees wouldn't be able to affect anything, as they only cover 25% of games in production. Picket lines will begin outside EA's offices in California on Monday, but whether or not the Performance Matter movement makes any meaningful waves remains to be seen. It was only a matter of time before the divisive Brexit would make its way into our gaming lives, and it's the Football Manager series taking the first shot. Football puns. As reported on the Telegraph website, Sports Interactive have put in 3 outcomes that are randomly picked between 2 and 10 years into a game's progress. Soft Brexit, where nothing actually changes. A second option where footballers are granted the same exemptions as entertainers, meaning work permits aren't too hard to obtain. And Hard Brexit, which will enforce the rules for non-EU players on all non-UK players. Obviously, the last option makes the game significantly harder, but studio director Miles Jacobson feels it's an important thing to reflect all outcomes during this uncertain time. God help us if BioWare decides to retcon it into Mass Effect Andromeda, or spend half the game trying to get a bloody work permit for a Krogan. Despite being a victim of the year of greasy release dates, it appears The Last Guardian has gone gold. There was a false start when the info from Sony Japan producer Jun Yoshida tweeted the message, "Gone gold, what up?" only to be promptly deleted. However, in the early hours of Saturday morning, the president of PlayStation's worldwide studio, Suhei Yoshida, put out his own tweet confirming that the news is actually true. That's right, people, after nearly a decade of development, The Last Guardian is finally ready. I know I'm making the same joke week in, week out, but surely seeing all of these games get out of development hell must be really embarrassing for Valve. If they're not, rolling around in their huge piles of money. We're never seeing Half-Life 3, are we? If you're a PlayStation 4 owner who thinks they've got the skills to become the next big esports star, you now have a platform that makes it easier than ever to do so. ESL, the world's largest esports company, have collaborated on a new PS4 feature called Tournaments. Similar in nature to the Communities feature, Tournaments will allow games to find and participate in competitions organised by the ESL, with NBA 2K17, Project Cars, Mortal Kombat X and FIFA 17 amongst the first games to be included. At the moment, only one-on-one matches are supported, but the hope is to expand it to larger team-based games in the future. So if anybody wants to form a Rocket League team with the anticipation of that, let me know, because I assure you, my skills are highly inconsistent. And finally, we end with a message of love. Game developer Adriels managed to get a bit of help from the team at Bungie to create a unique way to propose to her boyfriend Rami Ismail, developer of Nuclear Throne and Super Cratebox. Wallach convinced the Destiny team to make 3 items that data miners will be kicking themselves over for missing. The first was a letter that included the heartwarming proposal, a second was a proposal emote allowing Wallach's character to get on one knee, and the third was a legendary artifact item called the Ring of Eternity. As you might expect, Ishmael said yes, thus meaning that love has conquered all. Aww. And of course, you can find the links to all of those things by heading over to Digital Outburst. Just hit the link in the description box below if anything has piqued your interest. But right now, it's time to take a look at what's coming out over the next week. Telltale's take on The Dark Knight continues this week with the 3rd episode in its series. We won't go into any story specifics just in case you haven't played the first 2 episodes, but you can expect Batman to have his hands full as the action and choices ramp up. Dark Souls 3 will be getting its first slice of DLC on Tuesday, and while it's yet another retread of previous content, in this case the painted world used in the first game's DLC, early reports suggest that Ashes of Ariandel is a solid piece of content. There's also a new PvP arena, so you and your friends can get in there and prove you've got the skills. Meanwhile, World of Final Fantasy releases this week, giving the PS4 and even the Vita some much needed JRPG love. Its chibi art style might not be to everyone's taste, but its stacking combat system and cast full of fan favourites from the franchise make it a fun and nostalgic title. You can always try out the demo, which is currently available, to help you make up your mind. Those after some over-the-top fighting action will probably want to pay attention to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. An expanded social hub, more options for created characters, and a story with choices to make are some of the additions to the sequel. Basically, it's bigger in every way, which I'm sure is exactly what fans of its predecessor are looking for. Also out this week is the much anticipated Titanfall 2, which brings the mech-based shooter to PlayStation gamers for the first time. With upgrades for the gameplay of both Titans and Pilots, and a single-player campaign to add a bit more depth to its story, we have every confidence that it will be just as fun as its predecessor. Let's just hope it doesn't get lost in the mix of other big releases that are happening at the moment. Finally, the remastered version of Skyrim brings us back to the Elder Scrolls series this week. While it includes all of the previously released DLC, the main draw here is the improved visuals such as upgraded textures, lighting effects, and screen space reflections. Console gamers can also get access to curated mods for the first time, all of which should mean that you'll be pretty busy if you do end up grabbing this one. And that's it for this week's Reload. If you've got any feedback or questions, do let us know in the comments here on YouTube or over on Digital Outburst. And do stay tuned to the site as we will have our WWE 2K17 review, and we'll be covering Civilization 6, which I've only played a little bit so far, but oh my god, it's fantastic. But yes, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.